Hello friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Today we are taking a look at the brand new Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse Kon-El Superboy. This is the Superboy that I kind of grew up with. And then when I was reading comic books back in the day, enjoying the heyday of the death of Superman, the reign of Superman, and of course the eventual return of the Superman, it was a fantastic design. Out of the four, this one really gravitated towards me. Something about that cool punk aesthetic. He was kind of a cocky kid, you know, as a teenager, you can relate to that a little more than the Eradicator, who's this kind of Kryptonian, stiff cop kind of guy, or the Cyborg Superman, which looked great. Don't get me wrong, he was the coolest looking for being a badass and ultimately a villain. And Steel, I don't know, Steel just didn't resonate with me that much. I didn't like his costume, it was kind of boring, it's all silver. They could have done a bit more with him, I thought. But this one here, you know, he had the leather jacket, the kind of bodysuit of a superhero, Superman, but he was a punk. He was a little crap trying to hit on Lois and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Some of that resonated with that teenage version of myself. But this figure here, very interesting, very impressive, but kind of a hit and miss sometimes. The overall figure itself, the styling and the detail is fantastic. It does look like he's sporting a leather jacket here. It is done extremely well. The head sculpt in certain angles looks quite good. And unfortunately, in certain angles, he looks almost scarred up. There's that 5 o'clock shadow he has that I just don't think suits this character. He should be a clean-shaven character, in my opinion. And I don't know, I haven't seen this character, or this figure, excuse me, on store shelves. I got it through an order from Walmart.ca. Didn't have a chance to, you know, peruse and see if there's a better head sculpt, but it looks like this one's just a little kind of messed up there. I don't know. Kind of want to see this figure in person and see if I can maybe buy another one and just check the heads out and maybe do a couple head swaps or something like that. But I really like the body styling on this figure. Of course, he's got this little pouch here. Now, I can't remember, what the heck did he put in this pouch? Did he put his cell phone? What did he do with that pouch? But, you know, he has the leather boots. He's got the kind of silly knee pads, the red tights. Now, these hands here are the exact same ones that came with John Kent, except they added more detail with the opening on the hands there and the fingerless gloves. The leather coat looks fantastic. He's got the little spikes on the top here. The S logo is painted really nice on the front. It's got the S on the shoulder, and look at this. That is one crisp, clean design. It's printed on perfectly on the back. It looks just awesome. Just a really well-made figure. Now, unfortunately, he comes with no accessories whatsoever. You get the display stand, the trading card, and that's it. And speaking of the trading card, what you got on the trading card is actually this artwork right here. So you can see there, it's reminiscent of course, the Return of Superman, or the Reign of Superman, excuse me, artwork back in the day from Dan Jurgens and Superman. It's by no means a bad artwork piece, but I would have much more preferred this from the new Dawn of DC Superboy Limited Series, Man of Tomorrow. That would have been fantastic to have on the back of the card art. And of course, even the little sunglasses would have been a nice addition to this character, since he came with nothing, not even an extra set of hands. So that's a little disappointing, but the sculpted detail and everything else in this figure is truly top notch. Now let's take a look at some of the articulation this figure has. So the articulation in the neck, the head is pretty decent. He has a pretty good range of motion. He can kind of give you that smart ass kind of look. Now the shoulders, unfortunately, are pretty tight, and I think because this jacket is looser at the bottom, it is attached to the chest and runs throughout the shoulder, so it does kind of hinder the articulation a bit. That's about as far as I can get this figure up, shoulders up. He does have the ball hinge joint as well, but you can barely use that butterfly. He does have a swivel at the bicep as well, double jointed elbows, ball joints in the hand. Does have a bit of a torso articulation, not too much. Waist articulation is pretty tight. Ball joints at the hip, double jointed knee joints. You got the rocker foot, ball joint in the ankle, and of course, really tight toe articulation too. So overall, I do like this figure quite a bit. Don't get me wrong here. It's a character I really resonate with, you know, coming through as a young teenager, reading The Death of Superman, Return of Superman. This is the character that I gravitated towards more than the other three characters. Eradicator looked kind of cool, but it was kind of a stiff. Cyborg Superman, of course, looked awesome. Half cyborg, half Superman. Turned out to be the bad guy, of course, which made him even cooler in my opinion. And then Steel, I just couldn't connect with Steel's costume. I thought he was a really interesting character, but the appearance, the costume, I don't know, it was just kind of plain silver. Maybe they're throwing some red and blue on there, a bit more detail, even in the logo. But, you know, he had that cool hammer, which I thought was really, really cool for its time. But let's take a look at a couple other Superman figures and see how they compare with this guy here. Now, of course, I'm going to bring in this one right here. This here is John Kent, the Superman from Future State. So I think they pretty much use the exact same body buck. Slight difference, of course, with the chest and the jacket, but pretty much the exact same mold. They did remold the ankles to give those boots, which look great on Kon-El. And then, of course, we got another Superman here that I really think is awesome. This, of course, is the classic Superman. Jim Lee Hush Superman. These two guys look fantastic together. Kon-El is a little tall. This one is a little stockier, but he's so beefy looking. So you got a bit of a trade-off there. I would have preferred just a little bit taller Superman, of course. And then we got another figure here I want to bring in. This here is the Page Puncher's Superman. Now, I don't know, when I look at this figure, I do appreciate it. I like this figure quite a bit. It just reminds me of the first appearance Superman. I don't know why my head resonates because of the darker color scheme, the little more detail on the boots and the belt, and this look about him. You know, it's a different take on Superman. And I'm almost thinking I'd like to do a head swap with these, but we'll see. Maybe I'll save that for another video. But I really like this Superman. It's quite a departure from the classic bright primary colors from Jim Lee's Superman, which I kind of want to bring in just to show you. And we'll move this guy just in the background. Just kind of see these two guys together. So, yeah, quite the stark difference between the two. Both very cool, though. So there you go, guys. That's my review on the Superman, or Superboy Kon-El. And my final thoughts, I do like this figure a lot. Brings back some great memories, some great comic book reading stories, some adventures that he had back in the day. And I like the stylization. I think he's gonna be a great addition to your Teen Titans, your Titans line. He's definitely going on my Titan shelf. I can't wait to keep adding to that collection. I'll definitely show you that in the future, guys, when I have a bit more of the figures from the Titans line and just keep building that team up. Right now, in the Dawn of DC era, the Titans are the premier super team. There is no more Justice League. So the Titans are taking that premier spot, the spotlight, with Nightwing kind of leading the way, which is really cool. And I got the first issue of the new Titans comic. I got the Jim Lee variant issue cover, which is impressive. And I gave it a quick read earlier today, and man, it was pretty darn good. It definitely leads up to some big things that are happening. Can't spoil anything, so huge shocker happens in that issue, but go pick it up and check it out for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of this Kon-El Superboy, and stay tuned for more reviews on the way.